Welcome back to Word Blindness, Dyslexia Exposed. I'm Juliette Hahn here with my co-host Brent Sopel. How are you?
Another day.
All right.
My
well,
world.
Yes, another day in your world. Well, we have a lot to catch up on.
Yeah.
So this is the last week of October that this is going to go out. So we've had Dyslexia Awareness Month. We've done some different things this month for the podcast. And we have recapped already the golf event that happened in September. And we had the Stanley Cup dinner just Friday. Was it just a couple days ago? Oh my God.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's crazy. I was going to say last week, but it's not. So we're recording on a Tuesday, which is off recording schedule because you had a meeting yesterday.
I think everything's off schedule. My poop schedule. I think everything's off schedule.
Right. Exactly. Everything is off schedule. So we wanted to end this month, though, just with the recap of the Stanley Cup dinner, which was, again, such the love, the energy, the night, the weekend was so just amazing. But I'm going to let you jump in so I don't continue to ramble.
No, you keep rambling because I don't even know where to.
I know
to begin. There's a million people to thank, million people to consider.
Okay, so, yeah.
I don't even, so I don't even know.
Okay, so I'm going to jump back in. Okay, I'm going to jump back in. Sorry, I just kind of threw under the bus there. My apologies.
No, it was so spectacular from start to finish. Obviously you're a unicorn, as we all know. You got your Curious George hat on, but you're a special human. Elizabeth and I are grateful you're in our lives to come down, to help out, to take my 17,322 calls a day. Thank you.
Of course. And as I said to you, thank you for letting this crazy lady in your life to be able to help more kids. So I will take it back because let's kind of talk a little bit about how you've done the golf event. That was your third one, right? And then how the Stanley Cup dinner kind of came about. Let's kind of take people through the little bit of the history of it so they can follow along and feel like, all right, I'm in their heads. I get it.
Oh, no.
So, right, buckle up.
Nobody wants to be in this head. Nobody.
So buckle up. So that was the third golf event, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
We did shut it down for a couple of years, with COVID.
Thank you.
And we'll take back to why, like we've talked about this many times. There's so much embarrassment that goes along with this, and there's so much misinformation out there, and there's so much non-understanding. We're not like any other. We're not like ALS or Parkinson's or cancer. Everybody's got some understanding. So to raise funds for people, never donate to something they don't understand. People never donate to things that they're not okay with. No, you can get political. Like nobody donates if you're a Democrat to a Republican, and if you're a Republican to
mm-hmm.
Same thing for us. They don't donate. So I actually said yesterday, we're kind of like the Berlin Wall. We're trying to bring it down.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we had to take a couple of years off with COVID, because it was hard enough before during COVID and trying to get back on track. So that's why there was a lapse. I want to explain why there was a lapse. And it wasn't a lapse. The foundation was still doing its things, but we just weren't in a position, and then we didn't think the world was in a position to open up the Sopal Foundation, open their arms open to the Sopal Foundation.
Right. There's so many other things. So many people were going through other things. So
Right.
many other organizations and so many things need donations. And
Right.
just to kind of sum up what you said, it's like, wait, why are these dyslexic people needing money? They're not hurting. There's people dying over
Right.
here, and there's this happening, and there's this natural disaster. And so bringing it back, and you, the listeners, have heard us talk about this in a couple different angles. And I think this is going to kind of come together and tie it for maybe some that are like, I don't always understand when you're saying like people are not donating to things that, they don't understand. So I want you to think you as a listener and what you donate to. Like we've talked about this when we did the 777 campaign. Remember, I was like, wait a second, I have this idea because I know what my donations, my habits are. And I'm not someone that like is like, oh, let me give 10,000 here. We don't have that kind of finances. But like if there's a boxer dog that needs help because
what I
it's
just wrote down. Boxer.
Right. Exactly. Right. But and I said to you, I go, the second that pops up, and I know that organization, I know the money goes there. So I trust them. But like if they're doing like a bigger campaign that's overall, I don't. But if it's like a boxer in need, I literally that second, I jump on my Venmo and I send money. So when people hear, okay, this is what the Sopal Foundation is about, this is what we're doing to help, it's sometimes a little too broad for them to get it, especially if they have no understanding about dyslexia. And if they also know people that have dyslexia that maybe they don't realize they struggled because the people, as you guys have heard, both of us have come out with some things that like, traumas that I'm like, oh, I don't realize I was still a trauma. I thought I was over that. I thought I was good. Oh, okay. I'm not good. Danielle Fetty has talked about it, right? Like, so you see people after all of their traumas happened and they're now adults and they maybe are successful in business because we know the statistics about 35% of entrepreneurs, billionaires, all of 50%, all of those different things that you guys have heard us talk about. And so for someone to say, oh, wait, the Sopal Foundation needs this during COVID when people are dying, it was actually a really smart thing that you did, a really, really thoughtful and smart thing, because you knew it probably would hurt the foundation in the long run if you didn't stop and think about, okay. And that's what's so beautiful about you and your brain is that you actually are so much more thoughtful and so much more strategic than people are aware of and realize. But you're always one step ahead of like putting yourself in someone else's shoes. Like you are so good at doing that with the empathy and compassion. I think there's like two different definitions. And if you look that up online, there's like a lot of social media posts that go out. Like you can be empathetic, which is different than compassionate. I'm not going to get into the definitions. If you want to do, you can go look. But you are both. And the reason why I'm saying that is you are both. Like you put yourself in other people's shoes because of experiences that you have gone through, but then you can also be empathetic, but also compassionate. So that was actually a really smart thing for you to do. Not only can you not do live events because of COVID and put people out where they're uncomfortable wearing a mask and all of that shit show, right? We've all were at an event where it's like, should we be at this event? Or are we going to get in trouble? Are you going to get COVID? Like, do I have to wear a mask? I don't want to wear a mask. I'm wearing makeup, like all of that.
I was worried about my makeup all the time.
Are you kidding? I was like, I guess I don't need to wear lipstick. Oh, wait. And then you take it off and you're like, you got the fucking circle in your face. Shit show. Anyways, yeah, we don't need to go down that. I don't even know why I brought that up. That was a little tangent episode. But so now I'm going to let you finish that because that is so thoughtful and smart, really.
So, and then, the Stanley Cup, obviously, for us, again, I always kind of compare us to, cancer because we're the second most common thing next to cancer. You can always go to a black tie dinner and, people are going to donate because they know what that is. Celebrities, everybody knows, that kind of stuff, but nobody knows what us is. So, the NHL Charity Foundation was so grateful enough to allow us to have the Stanley Cup. So then my brain starts going, okay, how can I, leverage that? How can I bring that to the foundation and make a special event? And my goal was this year for both these events to every single person to get in their car and feel special. And that was, so, you can, people are like, oh, you can have an event with 10,000 people stay next year. I don't want that. I wanted smaller. I wanted intimate. I wanted to feel special. I wanted people to feel loved in a way that they hadn't been before. Because those things can get very corporate. Can, you and I are a number, and I never want a kid to feel like they're a number. So the people that were there, I wanted them not to feel like they're a number. And that's kind of what the details why I was going above and beyond with the gift, the take home gifts, or swag bag, or whatever you want to call it. The details of the golf event, having somebody on different holes, and the details of the cup dinner, of having the live auctions, of having individuals there that could speak to it. Again, there's a million things going on in the world. There's a million places you can put your money. So again, number one thing was making everybody feel special and feel loved by the end of the night. And I think we succeeded on that on, both fronts, the golf event and the cup dinner. And I think we're, if you go and calculate the amount of people that were in the golf event, the amount of the people that was there for the cup dinner, and then obviously the, Saturday morning little event that we had, we're probably around, 500 people that I think we executed, making them feel loved and special.
And you did. And you guys, I mean, so anyone that's been in the event planning space can appreciate what Brent pulled off in a month and a half, right? Like a month and a half, he had 3 basically events. That's a lot. I am not in the event planning space, and I have been a part of many events that are planned. And every time I'm always like, yeah, I don't like those details. I am not good at those details. I can be there and support and be the cheerleader. You guys are doing a great job. And I can think of details
Give me
like
a S, give me a B.
Exactly. I could do things like that. And there are little details of things that, I know I can add, but the event planning that went into it and the details of what you added because of the way you see things and why you wanted to make it special. I mean, they are still coming in like that was the best. People are still feeling so good about everything that you did with both events, but I'm going to take, because we've already talked about the golf event, but for the Stanley, Cup dinner, I mean, not only from how you had kids speak, the auction items that you picked, the videos that you added included, the people that were part of the auction that you actually had there that were able to speak personally. And you did that all like, not like, oh, let's see if this happens. You did it like, no, this is how I envision this. This is how I want this to go. And that is like, you're really good at it. Whether you want to be or not, you are really good at it.
You're really good at what?
The whole execution and envisioning how you want to see an event go to make it special, to make every person feel like that they matter. Not only that, you also go up and talk to every single human and make it a point of connecting with them and making it a point of making them, and you don't do it because you're like, oh, I need to do this because I'm getting something out of it. No, you truly do care about the people that are there and making the connection, making them feel loved, letting them know a little bit about you and why this is important to you. Like you do such an incredible job. And I don't think you give yourself credit enough for it. You really don't. Like that is a huge gift that you have.
I appreciate it. I never connected the dots. So you just, until just a couple minutes ago is I never felt loved in my life. So I'm not going to have people come to event that I am putting on for kids and leave not feel loved. And not and I'll preface this is you can't feel loved if you can't love yourself. I think you might have heard. I was just finished up a call when we jumped on here. If you don't understand yourself, how's anybody else going to understand you? Because I had mentioned to him that I've never connected with anybody till I connected, obviously with you. He's like, really? Like, not your kids, nothing. I'm like, if you don't know yourself, how do you connect? He's like, good point. So you're right. I cared about every person that was there. They were there to support my vision of never having a kid feeling what I do. So why would I leave them hanging? And those little details to me are what I missed in my life. So I never want that to be missed again.
Mm-hmm. No, and if you really think about this, because that is not, and people take that for granted, or people don't. Like, sometimes people will be like, wow, that is a gift, but you take it for granted because you don't realize that you're doing that. And I like just watching you make a point. And it's not just like once, like, oh, thanks for coming and blah, blah, blah. You make the point and it's effortless for you. I don't think that you actually sit there and like, okay, I need to go do this, which a lot of people would, because that's not their personality, right? Your personality is made for that. I mean, you definitely are. That is where you shine. That is a gift. Now, I don't want to take this for a second, because similarly to you, right? I found gifts along my way, right? And as I'm now going into the next phase of my life, like, I'm like, oh wow, that's always been a gift. I didn't realize how strong it was. As a kid in school, these things are not gifts. As a hockey player, yes, they probably were gifts, which you didn't realize. But as you said, you maybe didn't utilize them because you weren't comfortable with your own self, right? So you didn't utilize how much you can connect with audiences and people and stuff like that. And you probably did to some extent, right? So that yes, that is like a good space for you. But then now what you're doing with the Sopal Foundation, and how that is such a natural, like, you're just getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And so what you're doing to be able to help kids recognize early on, like, that's I'm doing this a traditional gift, because you can do it in school, but it's not like something that's applauded, right? Like, you're not supposed to be connecting with people in class, right? You're not supposed to be networking in class, right? You're not, and networking sometimes has like I don't know, it's like a bad word, like the networking, connecting. It's like the connecting thing. And I really do believe that is a dyslexic, beautiful thing, because time and time again, we meet so many dyslexic people that are like, wait, I didn't realize that is my superpower as well. I mean, I can't even tell you some of the stuff at Wake Forest. And I think I shared with you yesterday, one of the guys on the call was like, oh my God, and all of, like, it is a beautiful thing, but you can't utilize it until you're in the right spot. And you can't be in the right spot until you love yourself. And so what you're doing with the Sopal Foundation is giving the kids that fighting chance at a young age to be able to find their gifts early, to be able to make a change in the world sooner than 50 or 60 or 40, whatever. No,
and how much we've talked, what's the kind of top 1 or 2, 3 words that I use probably daily?
Yeah, you have to love yourself. You look in the mirror and say, I love you.
Yeah,
You have to connect.
But what about,
understanding?
Understanding. What was it?
You're not
when
alone.
you were talking about that, I was the one word that would jump to my head: relatability.
Relatability. Yeah. 1,000,000,000%.
And that's what I have, and that's what it's trying to bring, that relatability. And I think, in the school setting, networking, relatability, kind of has some of those things, but it's those teachers don't have relatability to most of those kids. Yesterday, speaking to, Queen, no, what was her name from 101 Dalmatians? DeVille.
Oh, right.
I was talking to DeVille yesterday, and she's like, I'm a teacher. And I knew none of this. We're not equipped. Her words were, we are not equipped to teach kids in this world. And she's a teacher. Those are the words she had.
I love that.
There's, there's no relatability. More people have things going on than they don't. So I think, stats with 20% of people don't have anything, 80% do. So they're teaching people to relate with 20% of the kids, not the 80.
Mm-hmm.
But she's a teacher, really, so relatability to me is a big word. I didn't have that. And you're a key point in the reasoning why those gifts can be gifts to me now. Because there's some understanding, there's some relatability that I've never had in my life.
Well, I get you. I mean, when you said people don't understand me, I'm like, I don't understand. I don't understand that. What do you mean people don't understand you? I'm not a special person. I understand you. But what you're saying is so true. But it's because I see you. I see your strengths. And that is one of my gifts in seeing that in people. And then being like, if we go back, I think I've said to you when I was doing some coaching, that was something that was like, do you know that you're really good at this? And then I look back and I'm like, I guess I always did have like a friend that's like, oh, you saw this and I didn't realize, and then you pulled it out of me. And
so what, I don't even jump off, cut you off that one. Cause remember you said you're not creative when we first started talking.
Yeah. I mean,
right?
Yeah. No, 100%. I mean, that was what in third grade, I said to myself, you're not creative. And I mean, I still go back, and that's one thing, like, when people say, if you could change one thing, I always say, wouldn't change really anything. Like, I don't look back and say, yes, I definitely did not make some great choices in my life. But what did I learn from those choices? I mean, some probably nothing other than don't do that again. However, one of the things is that I was very vocal about not being creative. Like, I would take myself out of situations.
Why?
Because I was not confident. And that, even though I'm a confident person, to create.
Let me, and I'm not trying to cut you off. I want you, before you speak those words, tell me why. Because there was something that was happened to get you to say that to yourself. So do you remember who said something to you to put you that?
No. And I think we talked about this. No, I really think it's that third grade when I went to special reading and everyone went to gifted and talented. And I will never forget, I can still picture myself standing there, and my friend came up and was like, where were you? And I was like, I had to go read The Blue Dolphin. I was like, and she's like, oh, that's terrible or whatever. Like, oh, we did the most creative things.
There we go.
We were, and it was a javelin. They created a maze, and they were able to draw the things and all of these different things. And I don't know if when I went home and my mom said, oh, that was like a creative thing that you wouldn't have wanted to do. I don't think so. I think my mom said, oh, you had to miss things and you weren't around. I think it was that conversation from that little girl, her obviously not knowing it, but instead of me being like, oh, I struggled in reading, which would be the logical thing. Because I was going to special reading, giving myself that narrative. I didn't. I gave myself the creative thing. I do remember probably an art class, because there was a couple of times I did take art because I really liked that. And I wasn't great. I'm not a good drawer, but I do remember like a couple things that I drew that I was like, oh, wow. Now, my older sister and my dad. So my dad was very gifted at stained glass. My dad had like a little thing. Yeah, he made tons of stained glass.
Really?
Yeah, we had like this giant picture window in our kitchen.
Do you do it anymore?
He doesn't. No, and I want to say like when my parents split up, he stopped. Like it was definitely a really cool thing from when we were younger.
That was really cool.
Really cool. And he had like the whole tools and all of it in the garage. And when I say it was a huge window in our kitchen, and it was covered in these beautiful stained glass pieces that he would do. And it was like flowers and it was obviously a creative outlet for him. And I remember them talking about my dad being creative, and my older sister was a really good drawer. And those two obviously struggled. in school. And so I don't know, but it was something I said to myself, and so I literally, even when my kids would come to me and ask me, hey, mommy, can you help us with this art? Like I would be like, nope, you got to do it yourself. And I mean, sometimes they're like, we had to do these pumpkins when we were in Connecticut, and all the parents, you could tell, did the kids pumpkins, but I had my kids do the pumpkins. And like, it was like, they were like, you didn't help your kid. And I was like, no.
So
it was bad.
This, now you got my brain going,
We love that.
ask your dad if he would do a stained glass something for me.
Oh, I will.
Let's see if we can, obviously, if he says no problem at all, but I'm not, it's.
Yeah. I don't know if he has the equipment and stuff anymore.
Okay, maybe he doesn't, but
he was so good at it.
Right. This is the first time that you've ever mentioned that. Like, that's super cool. I would like a little, a window where we can hang on the wall or something like that. Ask him if you would. Ask him, tell him I will pay him to do again, if he doesn't have the tools, no problem. But,
right.
Let's see if we can recreate something. Because obviously he's always a lot of, with his wife and stuff, things going on there too. So let's see if we can recreate some of that passion for it. And again.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't remember again when he stopped, but it was a big thing in my child. Like we loved.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Ask him for me. Again, tell him I'll pay him. The foundation will pay him to do a stained glass window that we will find time to auction off.
Right. I will. Yeah, and I can see the tools. I remember. It was definitely and so again, I don't know what it was, but I really think it was that third grade. But it took me until I started doing the coaching and doing so much stuff on social media. And I would always come up with these creative ideas. And the team that I used to work with when I did the fitness stuff would always say, "You're so creative." I'd be like, no, I'm like the least creative person. It's just a different creativity. I'm not artsy. Even though I always loved art and stuff like that, I couldn't draw. So that's where I gave myself that narrative. But I would tell my kids all the time, Mom's not creative, go talk to dad. Yeah. And that wasn't like, that's one thing that I would love to change because but it's kind of funny that I didn't talk about like me struggling in school. It was just like, I gave myself.
Well, the key word, when you're reading the Blue Dolphin, she said, we did something creative. So there's that, right?
Oh, yeah.
It was that word right there, right? Now, if she said we did something fun or we did something else, you wouldn't have, I couldn't say you wouldn't.
Yes, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
But you would not be fully in this against the word creative narrative in your life if that little girl used different terminology. So you answered that question. Well done. It only took 20 minutes to get it out, but good job.
It was a long story.
Well, but I'm so intrigued about your dad.
Oh, I love that. And what did my dad say? He was the one that said to me, I think Brent's a realist, not negative. My dad, you and my dad would, oh my God, you guys would like talk for hours. My dad's a good dude. But yeah, no, he had like a whole shop in the garage and that was like a big, and I could still picture like it was big.
Well, yeah, I wonder, is there like art studios you can rent where they have the equipment or something?
Oh, sure.
Around in his area?
Yeah, I mean they're definitely.
I don't know. Again, I've always seen them. They're cool. Farmhouses and stuff that back to farm and stuff. I think super cool. But it'd be interesting to see if he comes back with, oh, I would love to. I just don't have the tools. Okay, let's find them the tools. Not buy it. Let's see if we can rent a little.
No, I know.
Something for him.
Yeah. But it's so interesting because he was also a good drawer, even though I'm sure he's going to say he wasn't. So there was something that there was something in there that, and I think it has to do with that special reading thing. I know we just went off on a massive attention deficit thing, but that's what's so fun about this is that we can, because it's our podcast. And it's part of the 5 Ds. So, but that is one thing that you are so great at doing is you really are in your element in those situations. And every single person was like, wow. There was tears, there was laughter, there was love. I mean, love.
Can we talk about the lesbian couple that was there?
I knew you were going to say. Okay, I knew. So what the reason why I'm laughing, okay, so we do need to preface this because as you said it, I was like, it is funny. However, we are not lesbians, so a lesbian actually might take offense to it. We're not poking fun.
Yeah, let's be preface. They're not no offense. No, there was no shot at it. It was what Juliet was wearing and Danny was wearing. Both look beautiful, but they called themselves.
Well, I think it came from Clay, her husband.
Yeah,
it was like, wow, you guys look like a hot lesbian couple. And I was like, wait, what? Why? Because I'm wearing a suit? Like, I had a tux on. Yeah. Yes, we did look very hot. 100% we did. And again, there's no offense.
No, right. Please don't. There was no offense taken.
Yeah, because I know people can, take things out of context. PC, you get canceled. It has nothing to do. My sister's a lesbian. My best friend is a lesbian. Love the lesbians. I am not a lesbian, but but apparently I was dressed.
And some asshole made reference to it a few times in the night with the microphone.
On the microphone. Hey, raise your hand. And I was like, oh my God. Okay. Yes, it was actually very funny. My boys thought it was hilarious when I told. They're like, "You totally," and I was like, "No." And Dan was like, "She just." So it became.
But back to your point is there was, a lot of laughing. There was a lot of tears.
Yeah. Oh, I snarfy tears. My brother was in tears.
Was he?
Oh yeah, he's a sensitive guy though.
The kids' speeches. There was a lot more tears than I anticipated. There's always going to be laughs when I got a microphone. So
that is true.
You never know it's coming. Everybody stood for O Canada. That was very nice for everybody.
Yeah. That was good.
How I did it? You like how I got him to stand up?
I did. I do. Yeah, again, everything, even though you did not plan a lot of some of the stuff, me wearing a tux, so that was a part of your a little comedy there. It was though. I mean, it was one of those things that you didn't want to end. And I also want to preference that if you remember, like I don't drink anymore, and like. I mean, so many of us, but like going to an event when you like used to drink and you don't drink. And sometimes it's like, oh, I just want to go to bed. Like we did not want it to end. Like it just was so good to connect with the people. Such just great individuals that were there that were supporting. People did not want to go home because it just was like a feel good. Like, let's talk about this. I didn't realize this. Or, oh my God, when someone, Brent referenced this quote, again, a lot of times people talk about that 50% of prison inmates. That hits people really hard because it is reality and it's awful and it shouldn't happen. Like that we can prevent that. And that's the thing. Like there's things in life that you can't prevent, right? Because it's too big or it is not attainable. This is something very simple, really, that can be stopped if we address and that's the goal of the Sopal Foundation is to help with these things, to remediate them.
In my mind, there's nothing unattainable with the foundation.
Billion. And that's what we love about you too.
Personally, and this is the difference. Personally, I believe there's nothing attainable because the personal side, the self-esteem, the foundation side. I believe there's nothing unattainable.
Yeah. Well, because you believe so deeply in what you're doing and you see the difference that you've made in so many people's. I mean, people coming up, at the event on Saturday, the brunch, just thanking for the podcast, which was so nice. I mean, like, I was like, oh my God, thank you. We listened to every single one. We learned so much and and that was the point of doing the podcast, right? Like that is one of the reasons why we're not going to say stalk, but I
100%. I'm getting you a Sopal Foundation hockey jersey and their back name bag is going stalker.
Fuck you. Anyways, I knew how important and how much we could make a difference small in this by just talking about it. Because again, I knew having it kind of streamlined and doing that, and then being able to do what we have, all these epiphanies. I mean, how many, just like now, you're like, oh my God, I just connected this, or I did, it's been so great for us to be able to do that. Yes, but I think that's also some of the healing for both of us that can then get us to that kind of next where then it's helping broader people.
100%. If you can't understand, you can't heal.
Right.
And that's why these conversations couldn't, and I think, my brain is, we got to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Everybody wants to go to 110. Baseball terms, we all want to, hit a home run or a grand slam. Hockey, we all want a hat trick. It goes on and on. Football, you want, all these touchdowns, blah, blah, blah. But that's not reality. So you can't heal if you don't understand. And that's why we have these conversations. That's why we, end up going on sometimes a tangent the wrong way, like we did for 15 minutes in this podcast.
Yeah. I mean, but that's a beautiful thing. And so again, October, Dyslexic Awareness Month, I think we're going to stay with us because I feel like we want to change that and make it a different month, but we'll
100 million percent for a few reasons. Breast cancer, right? We're not going to win that one. Also, Halloween sucks. I hate Halloween. I love Halloween. I can't wait till it goes away.
It's never going to go away. You mean November 1st?
Yes. I'm like, yes. It's like Christmas. November 1st is like Christmas. Halloween's gone.
One of the episodes, I do want to dive into what your hatred about Halloween is.
Well, there's not enough real people every day in life. Then you want to put a mask behind them again. So to me, is adding another layer of that. But
okay, that's totally fair enough. I get that.
And the other one is it's who's behind that mask. I always say, my life is hard enough. How am I going to have to get around this next conversation? How am I going to have to fake around to get this next email? How am I going to have to do this?
Yeah.
Now I've got a mask to go through too. It's almost like I got another wall to go through that to get to that.
Mm-hmm. Right. No, I get it. That actually makes a lot of sense.
So it's, just another layer of that. Well,
but that just shows again the real person that you are that has been misunderstood for so many years.
But great candy though.
Well, that's why, because you love candy. That's why I was like,
except for those candy corn shit. Paul and Jill eating those.
I still love candy corns.
Do you love candy corn? It's like chewing wax, and you think I've got bad taste buds? What?
No, there's a good show. What? We talked about the Fun Dip stick. That was like my my favorite.
Like a 6-pack yesterday at the grocery store.
Oh my God, I think funny things during Halloween, I would always be the kid that would go and eat right away, right? I would have siblings or friends that would save it, want to count, organize it when they got home. I would eat it as I would go. So when my kids were little, I would, of course they were like me, but I was like, no, we're going to save it, organize. I tried to have them do that. And I'd be like, you guys can eat. But then one day I was like, you know what? No, I think it was like their maybe second year trick-or-treating. I was like, eat as much as you want, because then you're going to basically get so sick that you're not going to want any more. And it's done in a day. I would have friends that would be like, oh my God, my kid still has it. And I'm like, why? They're like, well, I let them have one at a time. And I'm like, I think that's worse. I just let mine literally eat so they would be like coma as they got home. And that was their sugar. And then it's like, no sugar for,
Well, that was, it was funny you said that, when the kids, on kids' birthdays, we always let them have cake for breakfast.
Oh, I love that. Right.
Well, because then you'd rather have it for breakfast and work it off during the day than have it at night trying to go to bed. So,
smart. So smart.
I get the preference, but give them as many candy, let them get sick of it, and then I'd eat them all.
Yeah, exactly. I know. Well, we're going to end on that. Not really though, because I have like 2 more things to say as I said that. But so again, thank you guys for supporting, joining. If you do want to donate to the foundation, we've talked about it. I mean, that's how to keep things going. We're going to be doing a lot of really fun things, getting you guys involved in some of like these very specific campaigns. So stay tuned. You want to go follow the Sopel Foundation for Dyslexia on Instagram, also on LinkedIn. If you're on LinkedIn, we do also have a TikTok, and then Brent on Instagram, Brent.Sopel, also LinkedIn, and then myself on Instagram, LinkedIn, and then Word Blindness. We also have a page for there. So to be up to date on all of the fun things, getting events. I mean, we had so many people afterwards who were like, wait, how can we get involved in the cup? As Brent said, that was a very specific, special event that we kind of kept close to our hearts because we didn't want it to be this crazy thing. This was the first time we had it.
Yeah.
Will there be other galas? Will there be other events? There's going to be other events. So you want to follow, stay tuned, see how you can help, but then also how you can learn more. How you can learn more about dyslexia, how you can learn how to help someone in your life with dyslexia, how you can educate a teacher, because they went into teaching so they can help. I mean, that is one thing, is that they want to be able to help kids. Let's educate and help them with that. And then all the fun things that we're doing. I mean, really, so follow us on all of those. Like, rate, review, and share. Because you don't know who needs to hear this episode. And thank you again for joining us for Word Blindness Dyslexia Exposed, ending Dyslexic Awareness Month, October. Because this is the last one. Thank you, Brent.
Mic drop.
There we go.